Welcome, Collective. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot getting ready to do all signs reading for you. And I am moved to let the Spirit speak through the cards today. Nothing in particular motivated this except the feeling of finding my own place in a new world that we're all experiencing, that we are all following, tracking, and learning to build a healthy reflection and position within that world, one that inspires others, supports the growth of others, and prioritizes our own well-being in order to do that work. So clearly I come with a perspective that today, and I've already pulled a couple of cards, obviously, a couple of oracles. I'm going to start with the archetypes, the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck, and I've pulled the Mentor. And this is pretty clearly really a reflection of my initial query, but I'm going to read this to you. And the mentor is also called the teacher, the sage, the guru. It's said that cosmic knowledge pours down on the world like a great illuminated waterfall. This can be an overwhelming force. The true teacher is said to be able to hold this flow of wisdom at bay while the student sips from a focused stream. The mentor archetype has a gift for reading the room, for sensing the exact ingredient that will stimulate growth within the student, whether pleasant or painful. The mentor is in service of the greater cosmic good and aids in the elevation of consciousness. So this feels as though it is for many of you that are out there reading or listening to this reading at this time, that are finding a place for your own story, your own voice in whatever kind of work, service, expression that you are engaging right now. This feels as though you have graduated to a place where you recognize that there is wisdom in experiences you've been able to manage, and in some cases even master, at the very least to learn from. And you've also advanced in your appreciation of realizing that this is part of an ongoing healing spiral, learning spiral, kind of like the caduceus, the serpent that wraps around the staff, is the way that we come around to our stories and experiences regularly, cyclically, as we have more and more to learn, or we see things differently as we grow and change and extract more information from that experience. One of the things that is very key to a particular kind of guidance that mentors, teachers, sages can provide to others is the authenticity, the honesty, the integrity to understand and accept that a mentor, a teacher, or sage always remains a student. And this is about a lifelong initiation into a higher consciousness. We're always preparing for more clarity, more understanding. We're always seeking more understanding. And this can be a never-ending journey that heals not only the self, but others. And the Freedom card came through the soul's journey. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. This is extremely charged. I feel this is really important right now. This is speaking specifically around the idea of independence. I believe the freedom that you are gaining in your life, the liberation you may be experiencing is one of this integration of your independence and the ethical authority that you hold within you to be able to make the best decisions for yourself as you move forward, knowing what that means and knowing that in order to do that with integrity, to do that authentically, you must be detached. You must be independent. You must see your own journey in the context of a larger social environment. And this is important because at some point on your journey, you've recognized that this is a specifically unique path to you. Doesn't mean that you're the only person that's ever walked it or that others are not on a similar path, but your path has been created by you and for you. And this understanding that what may work for others, even as I support others, may not work for me, and vice versa. That I have to make my own decisions, as do others. In fact, as a mentor, as a teacher, a goal may well be to encourage that independence of mind, what we often call critical thinking. And this is not that we're inculcating students or others into our philosophy or our way of thought, but we are helping others to recognize that they have their own principles and values that they may be obliged to follow. In the present, I have pulled the Queen of Swords. And this is certainly describing quite a bit more about the role of a mentor or a teacher. And the Queen of Swords is really embodying that high priestess energy. The palm, the power of the hands. We see with our whole bodies. We see with our senses. And this is important because we are engaging our senses in our ability to think, to analyze, to understand, to talk about or discuss experiences we've had. It has to be put into language. But that language really derives from the sensual physical experience, the emotional experience that taps into body wisdom. This also really highlights the fact of discernment, which requires a certain amount of detachment. So we experience these things with our whole bodies, but we must detach in order to move into our ability to discern, to make judgments, to discriminate, to be able to make reasonable, just decisions. And this is in the Queen of Swords is able to take in much more than simply his or her experience in order to make a reasonable judgment about what is best in any given situation or for any given individual. In the past, the Fool card. The Fool is very much, this is indicating that you have long broken off on a path of your own making. Those that I'm speaking to today, you've been on your own path. You've been on your own adventure. You are embracing your life as an adventure for you, not to you, but one that you're able to orchestrate, to open up, to explore, to find out. This is such a beautiful emphasis to the liberation I believe you are recognizing and harnessing in your role as a guide, a teacher, or a mentor to others. This idea that everyone's journey, again, is their own. And this is really the journey that is empowered by experience, having the faith of having withstood tremendous ups and downs, challenges, storms, and having held on and to some degree maintained a sense of innocence or authenticity, a fresh feeling, the willingness to take risks, the vulnerability to wear that heart on your sleeve. This is really a beautiful combination of qualities that sometimes we have to live our entire lives to return to, that sense of freshness, that we came into the world with. No matter what path we have chosen, there is new eyes, a new sense of experience, and coming through a series of challenges. And you have done that with a sense of your own empowerment, a sense of trust in who you are. And in the future, the Emperor. Wow. Okay, so this is interesting because for me, they're really feeling like pillars on the other side of the Queen of Swords here. So we have the fresh approach, the recognition that the world is here for your exploration, for you to find out. And that reminds me of an old Cat Stevens song, On the Road to Find Out. It's a beautiful song. And the Emperor, which is seasoned manifestation, realization. This is one who has lived through many experiences and made decisions, kept a community safe while working on their behalf, yet understanding that, like your own energy that is able to control your and direct your energies in the way that you choose, the Emperor likewise encourages those within its community to find their own strength, find their own power as a way of maximizing the participation of all those within the community, on the team, to work at their most invested level. So this is about not just creating something, leading the charge in creating something, but this is about empowering those that you work with, having faith and belief in not only your experiences, but in theirs, in their desire to get the most out of an experience, learn the most, grow the most. This celebrates growth. It also celebrates the responsibility to sustain well-being within a community or a project. So this is already a really fascinating look at the idea of the mentor, the teacher, the sage. And I feel like I'm speaking to many of you that not only embody this set of skills within whatever you do, whatever your business, however you make money, there's some element of your skill set that allows you to mentor others, train, teach, encourage others. But it's also this beautiful aspect of recognizing that you yourself continue to grow, to need to grow, to continue to learn as you stretch out and expand your impact, your influence on others. So there's a feeling here of always questing for more information or the right information or the particular kind of lesson or example that will highlight a need of a particular student or a whole group of students or co-workers, co-creators. If this reading is resonating for you, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, Pacific Tarot. I am enjoying this reading very much and hope that you will gain some insight. I'm going to clarify the Fool with 2 cards. There's the 8 of Swords in the past and the 5 of Pentacles. And in the present, the Queen of Swords. We're going to clarify this with the World card and the Sun card. And then the Emperor in the future, clarify with the Moon card, and the Seven of Wands. Okay. So this really is a snapshot. Although this reading is intended to serve you, to be useful whenever you find it, it is also a snapshot of a particular moment, a moment that may return again. So whenever you find it, I hope you find its value. The Fool is clarified by the Eight of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. This is telling me that this has been a very, very long journey for many of you. Not necessarily in terms of years, in terms of intensity of experience. You've gained lots of skills along the way. You've done many things. You've taken many roles in a variety of environments that you've been in. But it was all to the end of supporting yourself, and through that of learning your truth rather than sharing your truth. So this road of exploration has been about learning who you are. And there are so many complex parts to who you are that it is overwhelming at times. And that in many ways is how information can come to you. It can come to you in the way that was described as the description of the mentor card, like a tumultuous waterfall. When you go back over your personal history, you've had many jobs, worn many hats. Even if you were with a company, you have moved around that company in many different capacities. And all of this has taught you something, but it is overwhelming. And at this point, it may feel like a million voices in your head. It may be more about anxiety, as I think you are crossing a lane here. And what I mean by that is, however you were raised or brought up, you've chosen a different kind of social reality for yourself. Be that more humble, perhaps, than your background, which may have been very comfortable, or more comfortable if your background was very humble. However you are recognizing opportunities available to you is very different from the way your parents saw that, or your caregivers saw what was available to you, what would be best suited for you in terms of skills, education, in order for you to be safe, for you to be okay. There wasn't an idea about you excelling or being masterful necessarily. I feel like that drive was within you. But this idea that you are finally, at some point, really moving into a different social experience than what your childhood conditioning was describing for you, what it was appearing to make available to you. So that with your skill set, which is definitely different from your parents, you are able to do different things. You have different opportunities. In fact, it is very rare for you to find support in the traditional ways that were available when you were growing up. And that doesn't mean that there aren't family members and friends that continue to support you. I believe that that is the truth. There are those. But the majority of the family story is not your story, is not the story you are becoming. In the present, the Queen of Swords is clarified by the World and the Sun. This is really quite strong of a statement. That discernment has allowed you to recognize your achievements. You have earned and achieved much in this life. Your accomplishments are legions, but it's been very hard for you to see that until now. One of the things you're doing that is helping you to establish your worthiness, your deservedness in your own eyes, because you have been daunted by the response from others, to your achievements. Perhaps it's been silent. Perhaps it's been modest, but there isn't the level of recognition that you would have hoped others that are seeing you do well or simply being happier would have evoked for you. So you are recognizing in the face of that meek and meager response what you have achieved, what you have accomplished, knowing very clearly, no matter where you are in life, that this was really the preparation for this time now. This time of prioritizing your happiness because you feel your message, your experience of abundance is so powerful that you simply experience that through all of your relationships, all of your activities. You are a beacon of support, of joy, of playfulness, of knowing that no matter what happens, there will be change, and that the most positive energy you can bring is this innocence that you've carried for so long. This innocence, which is more like uh, a steadfast belief in your values. And for many of you, these can be called old-fashioned values: truth, justice, what is right, and also privileging the experience of joy and pleasure. That life doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be the struggle that it was for you for so long. That you're reorienting your approach to life as one of fun, of play, of creativity. And it doesn't matter what your avocation or your employment or profession is. You approach everything as something that is joyful. This is also showing me that you are a team player. You feel good when you are interacting with a community or a group of co-creators, of colleagues, of friends, of families, of people who are similarly aligned. But you make it your job to relate this experience of joy and acceptance of who you are as a wonderment, a miraculous experience, one that you share in every daily aspect of your life. In the future, the Emperor is clarified by the Moon and the Seven of Wands. Wow. So this is taking us into that place where you remain a student always. However, you're understanding your ability to teach or mentor others. This is the part of you that, as you grow, continually needs to dip into the well of your subconscious to better understand the things that trigger you, the things you don't feel good about, why you are triggered by certain experiences, by certain language or relationship habits that you've cultivated over the year. Those people that show up and always leave you feeling bad or not confident about yourself, those experiences of family, relatives who have passed over but left a particular sense of frigidity with you or severity or a lack of acceptance, criticism, really excavating those experiences and what their emotional imprint was on you in order to gain a better understanding of who you are and what your needs are, why you desire the things that you do. And this is all done in very sacred space for you. Sacred space can be working in your garden. It can be washing the dishes. Of course, it can be meditation. Of course, it can be prayer, journaling, whatever way that you allow yourself room to explore what is within you. And that is taking you some time and continues to be a practice of saying no to distractions from what you've determined is most important to you, because you're clearly building something, you're clearly shepherding or stewarding something that is larger than yourself or an individual project. Your individual project, for example, could be a part of something that is emblematic or represents a community that you belong to. So this is energy that is part of your gratitude for being who you are, your uniqueness. We go back to that again. Your uniqueness, not in the sense that you are better or different than others. We all are different in significant ways from other people, but this is about unique in terms of the particular gifts that have been given to you, the particular call that you are receiving to share that with others. I'm going to finish up this reading with a flower oracle and hope this has been helpful. I have just loved this message. It is so, so very empowering to me. And I pulled the orange blossom. The key word is enthusiasm. The best can be here. Believe it. So this is also describing the kind of teacher or mentor you are. Enthusiasm. Citruses are always known as cleansing, healing, medicinal. So this is also a lovely sign of the kind of purgative effect you have on others. Thank you so much for your time, and until next time, namaste.